When you finally stop performing, that is when you step into your presence. That is when you become magnetic. That is when you become the woman of your dreams. Hello, my dearest friends, and welcome back to The Privilege of Knowing. I am Anna, and on this channel we talk about all things self-improvement, femininity and healing, the elegant kind, the grounded kind, the kind that starts with actual brutal honesty. So definitely stay until the end of this video and subscribe to join our little secret society of women who would much rather know themselves, know their truth, and improve to be their favorite person, to become the dream woman that they want to be, rather than just perform perfection for others, because that's not what life is about. Oh my god, I cannot believe it. You are so lame, so insecure, and so self-conscious. That is ridiculous and pathetic. We've been conditioned to hear the words self-conscious and insecure as if they are the biggest insults somebody could say to us. People use it as an insult. They use it as a weapon towards others to invalidate their opinions, to invalidate whatever they're living. It is no longer about a person's actual insecurity, but the projected insecurity, as if being aware or unsure of yourself somehow makes you weaker, dramatic, or less evolved. Do you want to know the truth? I think it's not an insult. Somebody calling you insecure, somebody calling you self-conscious should not shake you to the core and break down your world. It's like looking at yourself in the mirror and getting a reflection, and this reflection says to you that something inside needs to be studied, something inside needs to be seen and heard and honored and taken care of. We've been taught that insecurity is a stain, that it's shameful, that it's something we need to hide and deny, that we need to pretend like we don't have insecurity, that we don't have any self-consciousness, and that we are the most confident in ourselves. But the reality of things is, everybody is self-conscious. It isn't a flaw in your personality. It is a signal from your nervous system. And what is really interesting is the moment that you stop running away from it and, closing your eyes and pretending like it doesn't exist, that moment is when your true confidence actually begins. There's a lie that's been going around, that everybody's been selling us, that everybody's been telling you, that confidence starts with being fearless, that confidence starts with facing everything and pretending and faking it until you make it. I have talked about confidence in some other videos. You can check out the playlists. But the reality of things is, confident people aren't always unbothered. Confident people don't hide or deny parts of themselves that make them feel a bit smaller. The most exhausting part of being self-conscious and having insecurities is all of the energy that you spend trying to hide that, trying to hide the insecurity, trying to hide the self-consciousness that you have so that it will not be discovered by others. Trying to conceal an insecurity in a way is similar to breaking your leg and then trying to hide your limp because you don't want others to see it. And it just makes you feel more pain, and it just makes you walk even more awkward, and it's just awkward all over the place. Despite what other people say and what they try to make you believe, there is absolutely nothing wrong with being self-conscious. There is nothing wrong with a little bit of insecurity, or even a lot of insecurity. The truth is that you don't choose to be self-conscious and insecure. It is not a choice that you make knowingly. You don't just wake up one morning and decide, I want to be insecure today. That is the choice I'm going to make. I want to feel very awkward. I want to feel uncomfortable. And I actually quite like to have this disagreeable and unpleasant feeling. So that is what I'm going to go for. And I'm going to make sure I go out of my way to act out of my insecurity and to act out of my self-consciousness, knowing that this may hurt others. Nobody does that. Nobody chooses that. So no, there is nothing wrong about being insecure or self-conscious. Think of it as you having a toolkit that you don't know how to use, or a toolkit where you're missing a few tools. What you often get wrong is that your self-consciousness, your insecurity, they're all about somebody else's opinion, somebody else's judgment of you. But it's actually about the power that you give to those opinions and those judgments. It may well be that nobody's judging you, but you have already judged yourself. You are already dissatisfied with something within you, in your appearance, in your behavior, in your environment, and you become your own stalker. You look at all these things about yourself just to convince yourself that this opinion that you have of you, which unfortunately very often is negative, is true, and that everyone around you also notices it. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. You need to realize that your self-consciousness is truly what you think inside of your head, something that may not even exist, but you decided to obsess over it. The problem is when you live through this insecurity, when you live through the self-consciousness, through these mirrors and these reflections and these projections, anything can seem painful to you. Even a small gesture, a small kindness can be perceived wrong, and it can send you spiraling down. Somebody could compliment you about something that you're self-conscious about, and you may get frustrated, angry, or sad because you think they're making fun of you, when really it was a genuine compliment. Has it happened to me before? Absolutely. Has it happened to millions of people before? Absolutely. You need to understand it is all inside of your head, and that is okay. There is absolutely nothing wrong with it. What I'm trying to tell you is insecurity is not the problem. Shame is the problem. Shame turns your insecurity into an identity. I am an insecure person. I am a self-conscious person. I am an awkward person. I always blush. Things happen to me. But what if we decided to reframe it? What if instead of making it your identity, that you are insecure and self-conscious, what if instead you decided to look at it as, I am a person who is having an insecure moment. I am a person who's going through this event, which is an event of insecurity. Think of it like a bad hair day or a broken leg. You have a bad hair day that isn't your personality, that isn't your identity. You aren't a bad hair day. You are just a person that has a bad hair day. We are so used to hearing you are insecure, you are self-conscious as an insult, as an attack, that we start gaslighting ourselves into pretending that we aren't. Because maybe if I pretend, the person in front of me will believe it. And if they believe it, then they won't think I'm vulnerable and they won't have anything to attack me with. Now, the problem when you do something like that and just pretend like you don't have any insecurities or you don't have any self-conscious moment, the person in front of you, they just see it. Okay? It's just so easy to see through that mask. And because you are pretending, they know you are ashamed of it. And if they know you are ashamed of it, that is when they know they have something against you. They know they can make you feel bad. They know they can get to you. They know they can touch that little thing inside of you that is going to make you doubt everything else in your life. Very often it's because they are self-conscious about something themselves and they feel ashamed about it, and they feel like if somebody notices that, they're going to be attacked. So they attack you instead. But what if it is that denial of what we feel that keeps us stuck? Because you cannot heal something that you deny. You cannot heal something that you don't see. If you have a wound in your back and you think it's okay and you think it's normal that people feel that pain in their back and you don't know you have a wound, how are you going to heal it? Please understand that admitting that you are self-conscious or admitting that you are insecure isn't weakness. On the contrary, it's actually being clear and precise with yourself. It's being honest with yourself. You know, in films when they perform exorcisms, they always want the demon to give them their name because then they can exorcise it. Now, it's the same thing. You are putting a name to whatever you're feeling, to the emotion that you have. And that is the best way for you to address it, to actually start your healing process. Going a quarter of the way towards healing your insecurities, in my opinion, is to start admitting to yourself. You don't have to say it to everybody else, but at least say it to yourself. Yes, I am self-conscious about this thing. And coming to terms with the fact that you have that self-consciousness is going to help you move forward. You just need to acknowledge it to yourself, like a changing weather pattern. Because confidence isn't the absence of self-consciousness. It is the absence of shame around it. Now, here's the amazing part. Once you admit that, yes, you are self-conscious about this or that is when it loses its power as a weapon against you. Because people cannot use your insecurity against you if you already own it. There is nothing left to expose. They cannot expose you because you own it, because it is the truth. It is your truth that you accept and you're okay with it. If you say, yes, I used to hate my nose, or I used to hate the way I speak, or I used to hate my voice, then it cannot be used as ammunition because it's just a fact. Your insecurity that once was a weapon used against you now becomes an armor that you can use and that you can wear because you admitted it, because you own it, because it is yours. It is a part of your story. And no, it's not about justification. It's not about victimhood. It's not about, look at me, I'm so self-conscious, help me. I see so many people, instead of admitting that they're self-conscious, they apologize for being self-conscious. They come into a room and instead of saying, listen, I get a bit nervous before I speak, so I apologize if things are unclear. Instead, they say, I apologize for being so self-conscious, I have problems, and they just close themselves and they make it as if it is a shameful thing to be self-conscious. You're not a victim. You don't need to turn yourself into a victim. It doesn't do you any good and it doesn't do others any good. It becomes about neutrality, about acknowledging a fact. That's it. A fact, nothing more, nothing less, just a piece of information about me. There needn't be any drama, there needn't be any justifications or explanation, because the people that want to use it as a weapon against you, that want to weaponize it, they rely on your shame. They rely on you thinking it is wrong to have those feelings and emotions. They rely on you not accepting it as a simple fact, a neutral fact of your life, of your story. There's an exercise I like to do sometimes, and I invite you to do this exercise now or later. Think about moments where you are self-conscious about things. It could be in the moment, it could be afterwards, it could be before. Maybe you're thinking that you're going to meet some friends, some new people, and you're already feeling like you're going to be self-conscious. Think about how it feels to you and what you think about yourself in that moment. Pretend like you're in an Agatha Christie novel, like you're an investigator, and you're trying to understand where it comes from. What are you afraid of? Because self-consciousness is fear. You're afraid of something. You can ask yourself the question, what am I afraid people are going to see in me? And then ask yourself, why? What does that change? What does that do to me? And once you understand where it's stemming from, try to change your pattern of thinking. And if it's something that, could be dangerous for your life, for instance, you're insecure because you feel like you could actually be in danger, your life is in danger, then do everything that you can to change that situation. Our insecurities stem from things that we haven't made peace with. It could be your ambitions, it could be your sensitivity, it could be your difference. And most of the time, our self-consciousness isn't about being seen or perceived by others. It's about being misunderstood. It's about being judged. It's about being hurt by others because of our ambitions, because of our differences, because of all of these things that we haven't come to terms with. With time and practice, you'll start to learn that the goal is not to become less visible. It's to become so rooted and grounded within yourself that being misunderstood or misinterpreted or disliked even doesn't destabilize you. It doesn't shake your world. It doesn't, destroy everything around you or within you. The ultimate goal is to be able to know that you can be seen even in your imperfection, and even to be misunderstood, even if you are a perfect person and people think about you that you are imperfect and horrid, it will be okay. That is the goal. That is when you stop performing. And when you finally stop performing, that is when you step into your presence. That is when you become magnetic. That is when you become the woman of your dreams. And I'm going to tell you a secret. When you start doing that, that is when you start showing up authentically, when you start becoming real, being the real you. And that is something you do with ease. And being in this state of ease, that is where confidence and elegance actually stem from. So next time somebody calls you insecure in a comment section, or somebody, says, oh, she's so insecure, don't flinch, don't be scared, because perhaps you are. Maybe it is true, and maybe you are working on it. Or maybe you haven't started yet, but you intend to. And maybe that's exactly what makes you human, what makes you grounded, what makes you self-aware, and what makes you authentically yourself. And now you have the privilege of knowing. So I hope you enjoyed this video, that it was helpful and useful to you. If you did enjoy it, don't forget to give it a little like. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to join our little secret society of important women. And you can also follow me on my other social media, namely Instagram and TikTok. And in the meantime, I hope you have an amazing day, an amazing evening. Goodbye for now.